Good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am DM Bloodworth, and as you can see, today's video is should be a package opening of AD&D 3rd Edition Core Rulebook. So it should be the Dungeon Master's Guide, the Player's Handbook, and the Monster Manual. As you may know, I was away on vacation for about 10 days, so I knew I was coming back to, a pretty decent mail call, and so I was expecting this. So take a look at it in a few moments. So I picked these up on eBay. I got these as a collection for about $45, including shipping and handling. So I'm really excited about that. They're supposed to be in reasonably good condition, so hopefully that plays out as well as expected. And these 3rd edition books will now complete my total series of 1st through 5th edition, just the core rule books. I mean, I have some others here and there, but that's what I was really focusing on completing. And I will do a separate video doing kind of a comparison or a retrospective of the 5 editions and talk about the key strengths and weaknesses of all 5 editions going forward. But that's going to take some time for me to put that presentation together. I've never read 3rd edition, so I have no exposure to this whatsoever. So as you see me going through the book, it is my first time looking through these 3 books collectively. And then maybe I'll go and talk about the 5 editions of the Dungeon Master's Guide, then the 5 editions of the Player's Handbook, and then finally take a look at the monster manuals across all 5 editions as well. So let's get right to opening up. Let's see, I need this screen. All right, so here we go. So big package, everything in one. So these, as I said, I purchased on eBay, and I won't say the person's name, but the seller was a very good seller. Got the stuff sent quickly and cheaply. I mean, and now I'm going to see the quality. Now, these are all used, obviously, and, so I'm taking a look, and I will take a look at them in the order of Dungeon Master's Guide, Player's Handbook, and then the Monster Manual. So here's the Dungeon Master's Guide. Kind of dark in the room. Let's see if this helps. Yeah, tiny bed. It's kind of gloomy out. It was very rainy. A lot of thunderstorms coming through New York yesterday. So, looking at the book, so you can see there's a little bit of wear here on the corners. The binding and everything looks pretty solid, though. The inside. So I'm just flipping through. Let me once again. I'm going to go through the DM's guide first on the other view, but while I have this view up, outwardly looking, it's in pretty decent condition. I mean, there's a little bit of wear on the corners, but nothing too major. Here's the Player's Handbook, and once again, looking at the corners, the edges, and do a quick flip through of the book. Someone had written a name in here, but very light. I'm not so much worried about that. And a quick flip through the book. There doesn't seem to be any other writing in there, but once I dig into it, I will take a look at that as well. And here's the Monster's Manual. So, Monster's Manual, once again, the edges. This one actually looks a little bit better. Maybe a little bit of wear on this bottom edge, probably where it went into a shelf. It does have this label on the back, but those are usually pretty good to, to peel off labels. And then take a look on the inside. Now this one doesn't seem to have been used very much, and I, show you the arch test that I use kind of to see how much do the pages still bow over, and that kind of tells me how often the book has been opened and closed. So I will save a flip through of that one for last, and we're going to shift gears here. So here's the Dungeon Master's Guide. And the Dungeon Master's Guide, for those of you that might not be familiar with it, you can see that the primary, there's three editors of this book, or three writers of this book and game system. So you have Monty Cook, Jonathan Tweet, and Skip Williams. And going through, I always try to take a look to see which edition I'm actually looking at, and you can tell that by looking at the oldest of the copyright dates listed. Sometimes they're kind of hard to find, where it actually says what edition. And so this is the first printing of September 2000. All right, so, well, this is obviously a first printing, so first edition of it. And we go into the contents page. Now, when I do that comparison of the 5 different editions and each book of each of those, the DM's guides, the player's handbooks, and the monster manual, we'll see how they actually differ from one another. So running game sessions. So a lot of this is generic, basically telling you how to be a dungeon master for a role-playing game in general, and then it becomes more specific to the game itself. So chapter 2 is characters, ability score generation, and you have here some different variants of elves. So you have drows, you have wild elves, and you have wood elves. And so the common subraces, so you have various subraces of dwarf. You have hill, deep, deru, dwegar, and mountain dwarves. Gnomes are rock, sphere, blah, 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 deep gnomes, forest gnomes, and then you have high elves, aquatic elves, drow, gray elves, wild elves, and wood elves. And then halflings, you have light feet, tall fellows, and deep halflings. I've never heard of deep halflings before. So never heard that. Used to be stout, and I've heard light feet, and tall fellows before. Never deep halflings. That'll be interesting. So let's see. So new races and variant races. So they have monsters as races. So goblins, kobolds, orcs, hobgoblins, Aasimar, tieflings, lizard folk, gnoll, troglodytes, bugbears, half celestial, half fiends, centaurs, ogres, and minotaurs, half dragons, werewolf, pixies, werebears, satyr, trolls, blink dogs, very difficult, very large, or very special powers. I don't know how you play a blink dog as a character class. That's kind of interesting. But flipping through, so let's see if there's any new classes. So there is the creating new classes, prestige classes. You have the arcane archer, which you see over here. You have an assassin, which is here. Now, assassins were certainly in first edition. I believe they made them like a subclass of rogue later on, and perhaps they're making them a prestige class here. Variant for first level multi-class characters. So anyway, the book looks like it's in very good condition, so I'm happy with that. And like I said, for the price of $45, including shipping and handling, and the fact that I got all 3 books, at one time without having to search around and price around and hope to get some of these things. This was a direct buy off of eBay, so it was, it wasn't a bid, so I didn't have to deal with that as well. And I was quite happy with the fact that I was able to find them in this condition and as a single purchase. So the book is looking pretty good. I will have to dig into that more deeply. I will set that off to the side. Player's Handbook. So here we have the 3rd edition Player's Handbook. Obviously Charlotte is written in there. And once again, let's see. So this, I should remember where I saw the other one. So this one here is what printing? See, now they don't say it where they said the other one. Not quite seeing it. So anyway, so another starts off telling you how to, character sheets and how to read character sheets, how to fill them out. Then it goes into character creation, like you would expect in a player's handbook. And going through here's the Bard class and going through the various skill levels and spells and such, and rules and class skills and class features of the Bard. And then continuing on through. Once again, I will go much more in depth on these books as I do that cross edition comparison of each of the types of books. So here you have weapons lists and such, where you can purchase weapons and see how you want to arm and armor your characters. Class tools and skill kits, and so on. And we go through. So here's a section on adventuring, so chapter 9, and deals with carrying capacity and other, I'm assuming, other things that will explain various aspects of adventuring, more so than just the character skills and spells and and such, but other things that impact your character's adventuring life. So just a real quick flip through. A lot of spells here. And that usually takes up the bulk of, all of these are spells. So lots and lots of spells. There's a number of classes that are spell casting classes, and so it makes sense. Ooh, a character generator disc. I was not aware that was there. Ooh, so that's a really, really cool addition that I was not expecting. So that's probably a very good thing that I got this along with this book here. And then finally, the monster manual. So here is the monster manual and core rule book number 3. And let's see if we have a printing on this. No. Oh, here it is. First printing October 2000. So this is also the first printing. It's very strange that that the player's handbook did not have what printing it was, or at least not in the same spot. So creature advancement by type. I guess you can increase the level of various monsters if you choose to. That's interesting. And I recall it said that at some point, one of the editions, and I have to dig through all of them, where they removed devils and demons. They called them something else. And I certainly saw demons there. Demons. So let's see. And they have devils here as well. So someone can always, leave a comment as to, or I can look through them all as well. Might have been second edition that they removed them, changed them around. I know they added a lot of different dragon types and such, but looks very, standard. Same thing as usual that you'd see in the earlier editions. Fourth edition added the lore section for each monster type. So that was definitely something that stood out to me when I first looked at it. And, that was something that I think is a real plus, because it allows you, when you're writing an adventure, it allows you to use some of that lore of the individual creatures that are in there to help you kind of develop a story. So that was an advancement between third and fourth edition, apparently, that I think was a step in the right direction. So I know fourth edition is much aligned, and third edition is treated, much better in light of that. Second edition is oftentimes, at least I've seen that it's oftentimes referred to as being one of the best editions. I'm a big fan of first edition, but that's probably just a nostalgic bias that I'm holding towards it. But now that I have them all, I can actually, shift through and do a complete breakdown of each book set across the 5 different editions. Now, I'm probably not going to bother getting 3.5, simply being that it's, I've had it described to me. Actually, I'll switch views here. I've had it described to me 3.5 as just being an addendum to 3.0, and fixing some some stat blocks or editorial, not editorial, but just some editorializing and fixing some typos and stuff like that, and not really making any significant game changes. So it's not something that I feel I really need as a collector to have in the full core 3 library that I've built up now. So once again, another happy opening of materials that I picked up off of eBay. Now I'm finally complete, first through 5th edition, and a couple of my next videos coming up. I'm planning on doing some video gaming. I might jump back into Star Wars: The Old Republic, because I have some friends that are anxious to get back into some game that we're all playing. So that might be the very next video that I do. But anyway, thanks for joining. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any comments that you want to leave, please feel free to leave a comment. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. And I look forward to seeing you on the gaming screen sometime soon. You all have a good afternoon. Thanks for joining.